Each week, Wells Fargo Bank brings us stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
This week, our Kevney Martin brings us the story of a San Jose basketball star and his rise to the top.
Marissa, James Bohnett is in high school and he plays competitive basketball. But James does not play for his high school team. He stars on a team traveling the nation playing other teams. He does it all from a wheelchair. Saturday morning, and James Bohnett, a senior at Del Mar High School, is making the drive from San Jose to Berkeley to the James Kenny Recreation Center for basketball practice. James and his teammates are just like any other club basketball team, except for one detail. The squeak of sneakers against the hardwood is replaced with the sound of clinking metal. James and his fellow Bay Cruisers are wheelchair basketball players.
Our program here, we have the only competitive wheelchair basketball program in all of Northern California. So in order for our kids to compete, they have to go to Phoenix or Utah or Denver or Spokane or Seattle, and travel around the country to be able to compete against other kids in similar situations. And it's really providing them that varsity level sports experience that we really want to provide all the kids.
As you can imagine, all of these athletes making up the Bay Area Outreach and Recreation Program, also known as BORB, are overcoming all sorts of adversity in their lives, including James, their star player. James was born in Ethiopia with amniotic band syndrome, born without feet. He was immediately put up for adoption and eventually taken in by his family at 7 months old.
This whole thing has been very exciting. I think the process of adoption is no less exciting, no less scary, no less wonderful than
bringing home another baby.
You know, the birth process wasn't exactly fun, and which was one of the reasons we looked at adoption. And so it really, every child brings its own challenges. He was just a kid who didn't have enough feet.
It's interesting because a lot of people think being a double amputee, there'll be a lot of setbacks with that. As a double amputee, there's a variety of things that you can do to support your disability that, in some cases, some people would argue that you become even more able-bodied in more situations.
James was introduced to the sport of wheelchair basketball when he was 6 years old. The game is now his passion.
He was this he's still pretty skinny, but he was this tiny, skinny little kid that could randomly sneak in and grab a rebound every now and then. And every time I watched him shoot, his shot is still pretty funky to where you kind of think it's never going to go in, but it does.
It was clear from the first time James wheeled out onto the court he would be a wheelchair basketball star. His coaches, teammates, and family noticed his skills from the start.
He's got incredible talent on the court, and just to be honest, I don't think he realizes how good he is.
James has always been good. Honestly, he's always been like the best, the one that we look for on the court.
Watching James become a team member and a leader on the team really made me think that I'd missed something in life. And I've lived vicariously through him, watching him play ball.
James is averaging an outstanding 40 points per game, but even with his success, he remains humble and grounded.
And just, real subtly goes through his business on the court, is always supporting his teammates, is a great leader on the court, is a great leader on and off the court, which is amazing, because it's not that he even recognizes how successful he is on the court, it's just what he does.
Off of the court, James finds the biggest challenges to be accessibility.
The hardest part is probably the more physical adaptation when schools don't have the capability to support a disabled person with a wheelchair. But a lot of schools in California I found so far have always been there to support you, no matter what.
Although James is focused entirely on the Bay Cruisers and the season, he can't help but think ahead to his possible future in the sport.
The sport has so much to offer. There's 9 universities right now that are offering scholarships for kids with disabilities, so you can go higher, you can go farther. He's always looking to go farther. He's doing it on his own.
One of the unique things about wheelchair basketball, specifically of all the disabled sports, there's collegiate teams that play against each other. They get money from the schools to pay off for scholarships for those team members because, they're representing the school as a whole, and I'm thinking about getting one.
From birth, James has battled the odds and is now wheeling his way to success. His future is bright with the possibility of a college scholarship and a future as a top wheelchair basketball star. James isn't exactly sure what path he wants to pursue for his future, but he knows one thing for sure: no matter what he decides, wheelchair basketball will always be a part of his life.
And you had some fun at the playing wheelchair basketball with them.
I had a past in basketball. I played college basketball, so I thought I could hang, but the next day I was so sure, and I give all the credit to them.
Yeah, and we know Trooper Johnson from the past. We did a story on Trooper years ago. Great guy, an outstanding teacher for him, so works out great.